Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. I would like to thank all of my Patreons for your outstanding support and encouragement. It really does help me make these videos possible. Well, we've now completed 5 months of construction at Giga Texas, so it's time for us to take a look back. And some of our viewers are very concerned that things are going very slowly, so this 5-month comparison should help allay that. In addition, I'm going to compare where Giga Shanghai and Giga Berlin were at approximately the same time period in their construction. Some viewers are concerned that this is not a fair comparison, but the way I'm doing it is that groundbreaking at Shanghai was in January 2019, and I've got videos from Wuwa that I'm using. Berlin, the initial tree clearing was in January 2020, and Tobias Lin and Wolfpack Berlin are providing the information. And for Giga Texas, on the 22nd of July, it was announced, and work started pretty much immediately, so that is my starting point as well. So let's look at how we went from the upper left-hand corner picture to where we are today in the bottom right-hand corner in 5 months. As a reminder, Giga Texas started off as an old gravel and sand mine. It had a lot of ponds, a lot of hills, a lot of terrain that needed to be flattened, and a very large site overall. And as you can see by the pictures, a lot of work needed to be done to transform this into what we see today across the entire site. By the time we got into August at 1 month, you can see a lot of the clearing on the main foundation area had already been in progress. Some of the initial northern part of the foundation was already being laid. Many of the ponds had been removed, although not all of them, and extending the work to the south and extending off to the east side was all underway in 1 month. At the 2-month point, we can see the basic foundation was already identifiable from what we see now. The big pit had already started its initial construction to do the isolation foundations for the stamping machines. Work on the east side was continuing. Most of the ponds, but at this point, were now gone, and most of the basic clearing was completed, although there's still work continuing. By the time we got to the 3-month point, the basic foundation was completed north to south. Most of the clearing had been finished on the east and north sides, and we've already started to see footings being installed, as well as the isolation foundations were taking shape. The steel structure had its first segment, and despite viewers saying it was just a test structure, it turns out it was actually part of the real structure. By the time we got to the 4-month point, the isolation foundations were well established. Footings had been installed across most of the site, or a large part of the site. Steel deliveries and steel structure had grown tremendously, and the concrete structure down to the south was getting its first of the columns. At the 5-month point, bringing to present, we can see that that concrete structure in the south has got its own roof, and it's about 40 columns installed, extending over the isolation foundations. The steel structure has grown to over 1,000 feet long. A second steel structure has been erected in the west side, and the isolation foundations are nearing completion, and the big pit is being filled in, and again, footings are across the entire site. So this is great, but how does that compare with Giga Shanghai and Giga Berlin at approximately the same time in their construction? Well, as a reminder, Giga Shanghai started off with about 213 total acres. About 100 of that was phase 1 construction, and that's what we're looking at in this comparison. And it was about $652,000 per acre for initial cost to Tesla. As you can see in these pictures, from about May of 2019, Giga Shanghai had progressed quite quickly. The identifiable sections of the building were already visible. A lot of the steel work was well underway, if not nearing completion. The walls, a lot of the roof structure, and so forth. So quite impressive, the work that Giga Shanghai had done to that point in time. So how does Giga Berlin compare? At that, just a reminder, Giga Berlin has 740 acres. About 220 of that was phase 1, which is what we're looking at here, and about $65,000 per acre. So by the time we got into June of this year, some of the roads had been kind of established. There were some footings that were being installed. Some of the cranes had shown up onto the site, and some of the work of the main building had begun. But as you can see, it's pretty much a lot of flat work. The footings or footers were in the main part of the construction at that time. So for Giga Texas, it is now, with the latest land purchases, 2,530 acres. The first phase 1 is 280 acres, although we know that they're building more than that. And it's about $40,000 per acre for the purchase price. So we've already had the 5-month review of Giga Texas, so I won't go over that. But I do have the pictures here as a reminder of where Giga Texas stands after 5 months of construction, just as a comparison. So how do you think the 3 gigafactories compare after 5 months of construction? What do you think about where Giga Shanghai was after 5 months in comparison to Texas? What about Giga Berlin? And what's interesting is many viewers are talking about how Giga Berlin is so fast now, but I'd be curious to hear your comments about, at the 5-month point, how does it compare with Giga Texas? So I hope that you found that this 5-month review was useful, and the comparison with the gigafactories as a friendly comparison just to see where we stand now. Okay, my drones are fully charged and they are ready. Let's go flying over Giga Texas.